Mr. Rayner is a popular British children's book author and an illustrator who has had over 300 books published worldwide, including the famous books The Ginger Ninja, Dragon Gold, Ricky Rocket, Generation Moon, and the list goes on. I would probably have to read for hours to list all the books he has written. Mr. Rayner has a successful YouTube channel where you can learn how to draw, and he also reads his books. Today, I'm very excited to talk to Mr. Rayner about the 3 books children should read and how parents can encourage their children to read. My first question to you is, could you please recommend 3 children's books you think every child should read?
So what I've chosen was The Tale of Peter Rabbit, which isn't, well, they're all classic books.
Yes.
And The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And Winnie the Pooh. Peter Rabbit is quite reasonably innocent, actually, but these are steeped in the old British Empire. Winnie the Pooh, I think, is very interesting. There is only one female character, and she turns up halfway through, even so that it was written in a sort of 1920s-ish, very masculine world. It's actually quite gentle. And
Very
quite,
gentle.
and quite empathic, I think.
Absolutely.
And even since I last read it, I thought, oh, he's really got those characters. Rabbit is a man who stands at the bar in the pub, although we hardly have any pubs here anymore. You know, that whole culture has almost gone because everybody stays at home watching TV and playing games. But he was the boring man at the end of the bar who knew everything and was happy to tell you all about it. And and Owl is the person who looks really, really clever, but it isn't really, and he's really quite unsure of himself. And I've fallen in love with Piglet all over again. I think he's a wonderful character.
Peter Rabbit is written by Beatrix Potter, right?
Yeah.
The British author. Yeah, that one.
He was extraordinary. I mean, you know, being a woman in her time doing that and being a successful businesswoman that she was.
Probably my favorite book written by Beatrix Potter will be Mr. Jeremy Fisher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know, the illustration is so whimsical. It's like Jeremy Fisher, he sits out on a lily pad to go fishing in the pond. Yeah. And it was just so whimsical. It's just so fun, and just imagination and creativity is there. So
and his house, there's water slopping through the floor. He has to flip flap through. It's like it's flooded, isn't it?
Yeah, on your YouTube channel, you read the book. It was very enjoyable, very nice.
And I did one how to draw Jeremy Fisher as well. Draw and paint. Yes, that's right.
Very nice. You know, the books that you recommended are timeless classics, and I have read them and absolutely agree with your list of 3 must-read books. While these classics are essential, their older language might be complex for young English learners in Korea. So, could you recommend one of your books that might be enjoyable and helpful for English learners of all ages?
I know you quite like Ricky Rocket, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I love that. Have you seen the Korean version of your book?
I've got a hardback version of it. Yes.
Okay, so you see inside like lots of fun illustrations and like really beautifully printed.
Yeah.
And just full of imagination as well. So if parents want their kids to learn how to develop imagination, these books are really perfect for them.
Well, thank you. It's that it was the idea of just living on another planet. I think it actually started in an international school that I was in. It was a British international school, so there were lots of kids there, and it came to lunchtime, and we all sat down for lunch, and there were Japanese children bringing out bento boxes and with chopsticks, and then other children bringing out burgers, and everybody had their lunch boxes were totally different, and we've been all talking English all the day, and suddenly there are all these other languages going on, and I thought, this could happen in 200 years' time or something on another planet.
I absolutely love the book Ricky Rocket. It's definitely like if parents want their kids to develop their imagination and creativity, these
Yeah,
books are
yeah,
perfect, I believe. And
yeah. And the language is uh, it- when I write for that age group, I really think about the language and try and keep the sentences short.
you deliberately use quite simple words and it's very easy to read. So I
Yeah,
definitely recommend this book in English or even in Korean to
yeah,
Korean kids. Um,
great.
so
Thank
I personally recommend Cat and Dog in a Mask.
All
Do you remember
right,
that book? Yeah, you wrote that
I
book.
do.
This book is brilliant because it's such a whimsical and fun book to read, and the illustrations on each page are so lively. It's like watching a short animation, and it
Yeah,
includes book discussion idea at the end, so parents can have fun discussing the ideas with their children after
yeah.
reading it. So I recommend the book.
That particular series of Cat and Dog are also phonics.
Mm, mm,
So and so suddenly everything became phonics. It was this new way of teaching. Well, it was not a way,
mm,
but it became the way we teach English in Britain. And so suddenly there was a need for phonics books.
mm.
I'm
Yes.
interested that you used the word whimsical as well, because I was I was thinking, how do I describe Winnie the Pooh to you? And I thought I'd have to use the word whimsical,
Yes, I
and
understand
that
what you mean. Mm.
and I think whimsy, which is a very hard thing to explain quite what whimsy is, but it's a very British thing, I think, and it's a very very kind of British, gentle British humor.
Mm,
Very
mm.
whimsy.
There's another one I want to recommend. Um,
Mm.
it's called the Ginger Ninja.
Oh yes.
Yeah, these are absolutely my favorites. I think
Oh,
it's a
thank you.
great bedtime storybook
Thank
for parents to read to their kids. Since the story
Yeah,
is about standing up to bullies at school, it can
yeah,
open up important discussions between parents and their children about dealing with bullying. The
yeah,
illustrations are so fun, almost comic book-like illustrations.
yeah.
I love them. If anyone who loves cats, regardless of their age, will surely find it enjoyable too. I laughed so many times while reading the books. And the way you describe the cats in a body language when the main character was really scared, like his whiskers
Uh,
drooped and his tail is down and
Whiskers drooped, and his tail wouldn't stand up properly, and he felt very lonely.
yeah.
so fun to read and see all these like fun illustrations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I had a fantastic editor at the time, and um, she was almost blind. She has really thick glasses, and so she would be bullied at school because of that and get called all sorts of names. And I had bright red hair like the Ginger Ninja, so I was called Ginger, and all those names in the Ginger Ninja. And
Orange, you use orange.
orange. That's and and so I wanted to get this story out, and she was so brilliant. So I'd written the story and I sent it to her, and we spent this long time. She said, children don't like preaching. She said, if you feel really that you're trying to say something there, just get it down to one sentence.
Is there a specific message or feeling you aim for when you write a book?
I know sometimes when I go to schools, um, there'll be a child come up to me and they'll ask me something, and I think, we think the same way, and so maybe it's what a lot of authors do, is to let other people know they're not alone. And I know particularly, 'cause I'm a little bit dyslexic, and if I talk about those at school, then again children come up to me and go, excuse me, I do that, and I say, well, it's okay, and don't worry if you're dyslexic, all the millionaires are dyslexic, so you're bound to be successful one day.